Hello everybody and welcome to this video. Here we want to be talking about healing low self-esteem. And there's a great chance that you are watching because either you feel you suffer from the symptoms of low self-esteem, or you're in a relationship with a partner who does, or you have a friend or family member that you would like to help with, and that's why you're seeking out this information. Anyway, my goal for this video is that we have absolute clarity about what to focus on, because there are so many things around the topic of low self-esteem, it's hard to figure out what to focus on, but our goal is to have absolute clarity, plus to understand how the healing process actually works. So you have the pathway laid out and you basically then just need to walk that. How cool would that be? You know? And for that reason I've put together a healing meditation that you find in the video description below. What this video here cannot give you is a deep emotional process where healing happens on an emotional level, where the resolution happens. What the healing meditation cannot give you is the necessary understanding that needs to come up front. So they two go together, and I hope you will check that out. It's in the video description below. Now let's start with the video. What we first of all have to understand when we're talking about healing low self-esteem is symptoms and patterns. Now, symptoms are all those things that we are unhappy with, that we want to change about ourselves, including low self-esteem, or being in a relationship with a partner that's maybe abusive or unhealthy, or being taken advantage of by people, or having a hard time around making money, asking people for favors, generally like receiving love, right? All those things we call symptoms. They are things that we want to change about ourselves, and we see that they are there. What we hardly see that they are there is the underlying patterns. And symptoms are results of patterns. And I don't want to get too technical. Let's keep it very down to earth so it's easy to understand, right? What patterns are protection mechanisms protecting us from certain emotions that we don't want to feel, right? But then you might say, okay, well, how is a low self-esteem a protection mechanism? How does that protect me from anything? It just makes things worse. Well, here's where we need to explain another dynamic. And that's this one. You know, when we were very young, when we were children, there was a certain dynamic that played out between our parents and between us as children. When we felt from our parents we were not really getting any love, then the child reasons it must be because that there is something wrong with me and because I do not deserve their love. Because please bear with me, this is crucially important to understand. Here's what happens. A child has a basic need for security and protection that the parents need to provide. So the child needs to feel that I'm protected here and love is being there. Like love is there and love is abundant. I am being taken care of. My parents are good caretakers for me. Now, when the child doesn't feel love, it shatters the basic sense of security and protection that the child needs for a healthy development. So the child reasons, okay, when love is not coming towards me, it must mean that there is something wrong with me. Because let's see it from a child's perspective. A child cannot perceive that the family is unhealthy, that the parents are caught up in their own emotional issues, and they cannot provide what we actually want, right? The love. So for the child, it's more important to feel the security and have the sense of, okay, love would actually be there. It's just that I am not deserving of it, right? This gives the child the basic sense of security that love is actually there, and love could potentially be accessed. It is just that I am not good enough. Do you see this dynamic? It gives the child basically an excuse to say, well, I just haven't found the right way. Maybe if I would do that, or if I would be that way, maybe then I would receive love. This undeservingness gives the child an excuse, so to speak, for not making their parents wrong. It makes itself wrong, and then that creates a sense of hope that, okay, love would be basically there and provided for, I would be basically protected here, it's just that I am so undeserving, right? For example, when we talk about physical abuse to a child and the child gets beaten by a parent, which is horrifying, but it happens oftentimes. It is inconceivable for a child to see, okay, my parents are messed up, they beat me because they have their own anger issues. It is much more, the child can cope with that much better when it sees, There's something wrong with me. There's something that I must have done so that I deserve being treated this way, right? It gives the child still the sense of basically my family is okay, my parents are loving, it's just because I'm so terrible and wrong that I deserve to be treated that way. It gives the child still the sense of hope, the sense of wholeness and the sense of security in the family environment that it basically needs. Now, our low self-esteem, we said, protects us from the emotions that we didn't want to feel. And the emotions that we didn't want to feel is this sheer terror, right? That there's some basic insecurity in our family, in the sense of things are insecure, things are unstable, things are emotionally very, very volatile. The child cannot conceive that. It is impossible for the child to see things from that point of view. So in that way, our self-esteem, low self-esteem, basically thinking we're not deserving, we're worthless, all those things, is a protection mechanism giving us this basic sense of security. Do you see now what I mean here with like symptoms and patterns? The self-esteem, low self-esteem is a symptom as a result of a pattern of protecting us from certain emotions that we don't want to feel. For the child, it is bearable to feel worthless. It is not bearable to feel that my parents can't take care of me. Then the child would lose this basic sense of security that it needs for its development. So it rather sacrifices its self-esteem in order to gain the sense of security. Do you see that? Now, what we also need to understand right now is how the healing actually works and how the healing ties into the dynamic that I've just explained. And here are the 3 steps to the healing process. First of all, we need to start with appreciation, right? Appreciating all the positive intents behind our behaviors. It is hard to appreciate our self-esteem, low self-esteem. It is hard to appreciate that we are in an abusive relationship. It is hard to appreciate that we are being taken advantage of consistently. But when we see that, for example, when we are in an abusive relationship with a person, that this is also a protection mechanism, right? Now you might ask, how is that a protection mechanism? How can being in a position where you are being subject to violence on a daily basis or whatever, how is that a protection mechanism? Well, here's the thing. It protects you from the experience of real love. And it also protects you of the hurt, the feelings of being hurt that come invariably from true, authentic love when this then would fall away. So we then seek situations where, for example, people are taken advantage of us, or we find ourselves in an abusive relationship. So we have at least connection with people, right? Which is our basic human need, connection with people, but it protects us from our deeper sense of love, right? We won't feel this deep feeling of love because this is scary. If that would fall away, that would really reenact and kind of give life to the old wound of like love not being there. And oftentimes these situations are very similar. The situations that we create in our adult life and the situations that we had in childhood. Oftentimes we then tend to reenact those old situations. For example, when we had a relationship with a parent where we felt, okay, I cannot get their love. That means I must be unworthy, I must be undeserving of love. And then we find ourselves in an abusive relationship, for example, where we then also feel, okay, it is not that they are incapable of love, it's just that I'm so bad. And if I just wouldn't have this stupid thing, then he or she wouldn't just smack me, or he or she wouldn't just dump me, or wouldn't just treat me like that, or cheat on me, or something of that kind that is usually associated with low self-esteem. Now, the dynamic that I would like to make clear here is that we tend to seek new situations in order to also heal this old trauma. And now we are here already in the healing process and how that works. Basically, our system tries to find new situations in order to try to get it to a better outcome than in the original situation with a parent, right? So when we are afraid that the parent won't give us any love, you know, when we truly would open to the truth of like love and the connection with their parent, then we tend to go into into novel situations in our adult lives where the same dynamic plays out, where we feel, okay, this person is basically incapable of love, right? Just as our parents were. So it's a desperate attempt by our system to heal itself, to come to the conclusion that, okay, it's not that I'm undeserving, it is really that my partner is just incapable of true love. Now, everybody is basically capable of that, but right now in his or her stage of development, he isn't. In the same way, we seek those situations in order to bring up these emotions that resemble this initial situation that we had with our parents so closely in order to make the same adult understanding. I'm mixing it up, the order here right now, but it just comes right now. In order to gain a new adult understanding of the original situation. What we need to understand from an adult perspective is, okay, it is not that we are undeserving, it is not that we are worthless, it is that our parents were incapable of showing us true love in the way that we wanted to receive that. This is the mental understanding that's totally important for the healing process. Getting out of this childish perspective, this childish protection mechanism, right? That we sensed, okay, I need to feel undeserving in order to still have the illusion of stability around me, right? In the same way, now in novel situations, we need to let go of this undeservingness and self-criticism and beating ourselves up. And we have to see, okay, our partner is just not capable of love. And it is a protection mechanism in order for me to not be exposed to the fears that come with true love, right? This is also part where we will be going through in the healing meditation, feeling through those feelings and opening up to the love, right? So I want to go through those 3 steps now once again in order so that we have a clear-cut understanding of like what is the healing path that I've promised you earlier in the video. First of all, we need to start with the appreciation, right, of our patterns. That our patterns had a positive intent. Back then, here, right, our low self-esteem protected us, gave us this basic sense of security, so we as children had at least a more or less, I don't want to say healthy development, but it was necessary for a child's development to have this sense of security. So we were incredibly smart coming up with this self-delusion that I'm undeserving in order to meet our top need of security. It was a positive intent and it served us, but doesn't serve us now anymore. And this is how we need to come to the mental understanding, the adult understanding from a mental perspective, seeing that our parents did do those things to us or withheld love or whatever that might be because they were incapable of really showing that in a mature way. It is not because there was something wrong with us, not because we were undeserving of love, is what because they were incapable of showing that. And coming from this mental understanding, this is healthy blaming, right? It is not accusation, but it is healthy blaming and giving the responsibility where it belongs. Because what we tend to do with low self-esteem is taking all the responsibility on our shoulders and do everything for other people and nothing for ourselves. And this is an imbalance. So we need to give the responsibility to our parents, also in novel situations to our partner, and see, well, look, I can do my part, but it's like 50-50 or 60-40, 70-30, whatever you work out, but it's like 2 people working together in this relationship and you have to do your part as well. So only by seeing, oh, if I wouldn't have said that, then he wouldn't have beaten me or smacked me or wouldn't have cheated on me. This is one side of responsibility, and with healthy blaming, we need to give that back to the other person. So this is the mental understanding that also now needs to happen. And then the healing meditation. Now, I can't say it enough. I've put together a meditation with everything in there that I've learned with my work with people here in Cusco, Peru, where I live. And it has helped many people in this process, and I believe it can help you too. All you need to do is like go in the video description and let me send it to you. It's for free. I don't charge anything for that, so you get it and you can go through this process. What I would like to ask you now, if you have gotten anything out of this video, that you would share your most important insight. Of course, that would help me reach more people when there are comments on the video, but also it will help other people who are in the same process, because you know exactly what it's like, very likely so, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video, very likely so, what can be the pain of low self-esteem. And when you can share your breakthroughs, you can help somebody else. Now, if they comment back or not, it doesn't quite matter. You don't quite know how many people would be reading your comment and would be feeling inspired by that, and you can't really see it, but you have impacted many, probably dozens of people by you really stepping up and sharing something from the heart and being vulnerable. Also, if you have any feedback, or if you feel that I've missed something that you would like to see another video on a more specific topic, let me know. Thank you very much, and I wish you a beautiful day.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now. Set aside your worries, it's okay now. The sun is here to stay.